Simone Lee has blown up since this piece. You know, she made this piece. It was on the streets of New York City, and that I saw it, and I thought, oh my gosh, am I really seeing this object? Let me see if I have it there. Is this Black woman ruling over New York City? Do I really see this? And like the first time I saw the clay, yeah, like the first time I saw the clay figure, and my heart stopped. The first time I saw this figure, my heart stopped, thinking, this is power. This is powerful. This is a powerful Black woman. No eyes, no breasts to tell me that it's a woman, no other characteristics, really. And this is a Black woman. And for me, she is on, there's a park in New York City called the High Line, and it's an old train trestle that they've turned into several miles of park. This is a big deal. That the placement is a big deal. And forget the placement, the object is a big deal. Simone, you know, as one of you said, I'm sorry, I don't know who said this, but you know, you don't need eyes to see. And so her gaze is coming from inside. Her gaze is internal and going out to the external. And so for me, she is one of my artists in my study when I'm talking about the primordial gaze. And so why do you think minding what I just said about the eyes, but the word primordial, how do I put Simone Lee into the category of primordial gaze, accent on primordial? Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Maybe I'm thinking the way that we see ourselves first, like the origin of Blackness, of Africanness, and that gaze coming 360 around back to us, like us looking at ourselves.
Beautiful.
Being the first to look at ourselves and to name ourselves.
We're the origin, right? Primordial is the beginning, right? And as African people, we are the beginning, or we all started on the continent.
Yeah.
And so I'm saying that sense of self, that sense of the beginning, the essence of time and space comes through us, and this piece brings it to the future, right? It brings us to the present and into the future. And so for me, this is a primordial gaze, just like the first two, the clay piece and then Carrie James Marshall's. These three so far are part of my story about the primordial gaze. They speak to us. They tell us something. And when I saw this, I was in New York City. This is outdoors, obviously. I was walking outside. I knew about this piece. I knew it was there, and I was coming to see it. And I had to stop. I had to stop because it was so overwhelming to be in New York City, which is one of the richest cities in the world, dripping with money, born on slavery. I mean, everything you see is built on the backs of us. I mean, there was slavery in New York and in the North and everywhere else. And all of the money from the South in slavery came into New York. And then from New York, it went out to Europe and, you know, bought cement, I don't know, concrete and everything that it bought to turn this country into, you know, the United States of Africa. And I had to stop, and I looked around and I thought to myself, does anybody else see this? Am I the only one to see this Black woman here? And the thing that really blew my mind was that I had seen Carrie James Marshall already. I had seen a woman named Simone Lee, who I have a picture of one of her paintings. This in a week's time, I ran around and saw this art. So I saw Carrie James Marshall. I saw a Black woman named Amy Sherrill, which I'll show you. Here's Simone Lee. And uptown at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, where that clay piece was, in the present moment was the sculpture of a Kenyan American woman on the outside of the building. And so I'm thinking all of this, and Kahindi Wiley, who I will also show you, had a sculpture in Times Square. So there was something, extra thoughtful is not the right, deepening to think about these are primordial objects in my mind, big objects out in the public, which means anybody can see them. You don't have to pay something to go into a museum. The access is available to you. They were all in New York at the same time. And I kept thinking, like, who did this? What power sat around tables? And I think we should have Black art on view in New York City, all outdoors at the same time. I don't know if that happened, but it was such a powerful moment for me that this was part of my transformation. And when I saw Simone Lee, I went back in time. I went back to Wall Street, which is the money street in New York. It's the money street for the United States of America, which is where they sold Black people. And I thought about, our ancestors on the wharf downtown, which was not too far from this. What street is this? 30th Street. So, so 30 blocks away, 25 blocks away is Wall Street, where our people were being sold. And look at what has happened, what has transpired. And I know folks like to say, what's the thing about our ancestors' wildest dream? I'm not sure about what to do with that phrase, except to maybe somebody else will help me think about that. Because I just felt a direct link from the continent to the slave markets, to this object, to myself. And it felt like it was just flowing through me. And it felt like every kid in New York City should be on a school bus and coming to see these works, like do a tour, see Simone, see Wangechi, see Kahindi, and let's talk about it. Of course, what happened next was COVID, and that didn't happen. But it felt like a tipping point. It felt like something very powerful was happening. And I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know what it was going to lean to, or if it was just my experience. But this was an incredible moment for me.
I also wanted to add that with Simone Lee, she's not trained. One thing that I really love about her art is it's very organic. And I just feel like it's so raw, and that she's just being present with what she wants to express. And to have the exposure that she has had, and she's not like a trained artist. She just started creating and made these beautiful pieces. It's amazing, her story that they did. I think they did a thing on her on like Sunday morning, or one of those shows where they went and talked about her background. It was amazing.
Can I
Radiah?
jump?
Yes.
I was going to jump in and say something, Banu. Thank you for that. But when I hear the word train, I'm thinking of a European lens. Someone had to actually teach her. The woman is gifted. She is trained from a universal plane. It's in her.
Yes,
So
from
when
spirit.
when
Yes.
I hear she isn't trained, she isn't culturalized, she isn't Europeanized, she's not
Formally.
huh?
Formally.
Formally, yeah, and yeah, because all of those words mean
Right.
whiteness to
Eurocentric.
me.
Yeah.
Right. So
And
I just wanted to throw that in.
yes, absolutely. And to complete that circle of thought, she makes objects with clay. This is obviously not clay because it's outdoors. She turned it in, she had it mold into bronze, but it started as clay. And she makes clay pots, which are like stunning. Do I have $5,000 for a blue pitcher? I wish I did. Her pieces link directly to the continent. And at the same time, she goes back to enslaved potters in North Carolina, South Carolina in the 1800s. I don't know if you've heard of Dave the Potter. The way the shape is of the body, Dave the Potter in the 1800s made these bulbous, can you see me? These bulbous, really large pots. He got permission to make these pots. And clearly, when you look at his pots and you look at West African pots, there's a direct through line. And if you look at his pots and you look at Simone, you see the through line. It's like we can't help ourselves. This is in our DNA. This is in our DNA. And she's got two cowrie shells in her hair. She's got two braids. The body is sort of either a pot shape or a basket shape, which kind of are emblematic of our culture. And so she reaches for all these aspects of who we are as African people and adds them to her work. And so for me, I've already said it, she is a part of this whole primordial vision that I have, because she's speaking from something from far away, far back, and bringing it up to us in the present. And one of our other artists is, in my mind, is taking it into Afrofuturism. And for me, it's like it's a story, right? These gazes tell a broad story. So this is Simone Lee. There it is again. There she is again. So
Rashida,
want to go back?
LaTronda wanted to know, what was the name of the male artist?
The male artist, Carrie. This one?
Or were you talking about the one that did the pottery?
Dave.
Yes, Dave the Potter.
Dave the Potter.
Yeah.
Dave the Potter. And actually, they found his last name and they stopped saying that. But right now, I can't remember it. I want to say Earl, but that's not right. But there's a show for him at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It's just like there's no telling what's going to happen, even though it takes 400 years. Not even though, that's wrong. Damn it, it takes 400 years. But we have to persevere, because that's who we are as Black people.